I think we're live. I think we're live. Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, everybody. And good morning, wherever you are on this Gooner planet. Because I'm sure that if it's 4 in the morning, you're all up. You know why? Because we just beat Man City for the first time in God knows how long. So, welcome all of you. And hello, everybody in the chat room. There's already so many of you. I'll get to you lot in a moment. First of all, let me welcome our guests, my friends of the show, Mr. Albert JTV. Welcome back, my darling.
It's good to be back, Amanda. What a debut to come, not a debut, but you know what I mean, to come back and talk about the beloved Arsenal with a little bit more silverware to talk about.
We have. Um, and my friend, my partner in crime, everything. And we're going to talk about our WhatsApp conversation this week, James. James, LL Cool J, welcome back, darling.
Hello. Yes, good to be here. Thank you very much for letting me on. And like I said, if I'll be miserable, I'll be really happy. But I think I'm going to be really happy. And what happens? I call it all the time. Every time we play Man City at Wembley, and it's you and me, I always get it right, don't I? Always get it right.
Yes. Did we watch the final together?
We watched that semi, didn't we? And I said
Oh, semi-final.
we'll win
Yeah.
2-1. Everyone thought I was on crack, other substances that are available. And I was just like, you watch. And then what was it? Monreal and Sanchez right at the end. I mean, Monreal's goal shouldn't have stood because it was offside. But yeah, it don't matter, does it? We still won. And then we won we beat Chelsea in the final. Great
I
time.
remember driving you mad, going, "What are you talking about? We're never going to win." I was like, oh, all over the place.
Yeah.
But no, you were right. You were right.
Always am. As soon as you learn that, it's much easier for you.
So, both of you, welcome to the show. We'll get to the show in a moment. I want to say a big hello to everybody in the chat room. Please press like, please press subscribe for the new season because this is, even though I've only had 2 weeks break, this is the starter for the brand new season on the Same Old Arsenal podcast. Season 23-24. I feel about 80 at the moment. However, I'd like to welcome everybody on audio too. I don't forget you. It's just because I don't see you that I don't mention you, but we don't forget you. And I would especially like to thank all of those that have downloaded our pod in the last 6 months and especially over the summer. You have really supported us even more so than during the season, which is fantastic, which means we're getting more followers. So on audio, if you wouldn't mind giving us a follow, and rating us, and it just gets us out in this algorithm thing. Don't really understand it all, but Albert and James are nodding, so I must be saying something right. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you on audio. So I'll tell you who else appreciates you, James and Chris, who were both at Wembley today. This is the reason they're not sitting here tonight. I did ask them for videos and pictures to send to me so I could post them. Boys being boys, and I'm not being sexist, I haven't had anything on my WhatsApp. So Chris did a lovely Twitter video to the Same Old Arsenal, walking down Wembley Way. So you can go and have a look at that on Twitter. That was before the game, and said he probably wouldn't be sober enough to send me any pictures during it, and Cookie's gone missing. But hey ho. Um, they are all back next Thursday night for our pre-season chat before we play Forest on Saturday. But I'll get to all that. Boys, what a week. What a week. Seriously. I woke up I woke up last Sunday morning. Excuse me a second, and I turned 54. By the time I'd eaten my breakfast, my boyfriend, who was my boyfriend, who's in the chat, asked to marry me, asked me to marry him, sorry. And we got engaged. And yes, he's a gooner, everybody, for those that don't know. So he proposed on my birthday. We then go and do well in the pre-seasons, and then we beat City in the Charity Shield. So it's actually been, and I've been to a lovely wedding of very close friends. I had 4 days off, and it was absolutely wonderful. So for all those that wish me congratulations and muzzle tov, thank you so much. For those that have actually wished me happy birthday, because that went amiss, obviously, thank you so much. And I'm just so thankful to all of you. And honestly, Fiona, thank you so much. We'll get to Fiona in a moment as well. Um, I appreciate all of you. And thank you, Karen. Smash the like button, guys. It's so lovely to have the regulars back. And yeah, so it's been a bit of a week for me, boys. However, let's just get on to a couple of things. First of all, as I just alluded to, Fiona, who is one of our best viewers and supporters of the pod, unfortunately has got breast cancer and announced it this week on social media. And thankfully, had so many people wishing her luck. And do you know what, Fiona? From myself, James, Chris, James, and Albert, we wish you the best of luck. We cannot wait to see you at the Emirates, and you're going to kick its ass. I'm telling you. Boys, have you got anything you want to say to Fee?
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. It's times like this where you understand the fan base. I've had quite a rough year myself this year as well. I'm not trying to link it to me if anyone starts. But yeah, no, Fiona, we're all thinking of you, and get well soon. And we'll see you over the Arsenal. And hopefully the distraction of a great season that we're going to have, we'll speak a bit more about that later, will help you in your journey. So no, please take care of yourself and get well soon, Fiona.
Albert, you're on mute, darling.
Sorry, I didn't want to disturb you talking, Amanda and James, so I just put myself on mute. But no, no, Amanda, great that you brought that up, because I got home late from work, as you know, when I did message people. But yeah, and I saw the tweet, because it's up to people what they want to talk about in their personal life, particularly when they tweet about it. And something as significant, as big as what Fiona's going to go through and is going through is massive. So yeah, it's a shame I won't actually get to see her, because she got to the first game of the season, I believe she's going to. But yeah, Fiona, sending you a massive hug, a virtual kiss, and everything else, because we've had interaction on the platform, and yeah, it was a massive eye opener to a lot of people that saw the tweet when you put it out. So yeah, you can beat this, man. You can do it. You can absolutely do it.
She can. And we're sending all love, strength, and positive vibes to you, Fee. We're with you all the way. If you ever need any of us, you know where we are. Absolutely. And as Melissa said, I totally agree. You've got this, Fiona.
Well said, Melissa. Well said.
And I'm glad that you had a lovely win today, Fee. And just sending all our love to you. And another person this week as well, I would just want to go through, then we'll get to the game, obviously.
Yeah.
Aaron Ramsdale. I mean,
Great shout.
if I didn't well up reading that, and I read it twice, I would be lying, James. I mean, I love him anyway. I supported him from the day he started because I didn't know much about him, and I'm not interested in what anything anybody says about any players. I don't slag any players off until they play for us. And I remember my Man City mate saying to me, "My God, what have you bought? He's relegated 2 teams." And I went, "Well, Arteta must know something. You don't just go and waste money on a goalkeeper." I said, "Let's see what happens when when he joins for us." And I'm so touched by what he said, James. So touched.
Yeah, I mean, for me, there was a telling part in it where he said, the Arsenal fans that abused him before he played, he said there is sh heads in football. I was one of the sh heads. He's turned me round. And you know what? I've got to give him credit. There's a lot of stuff going on in football at the moment with certain countries and how they view certain people that have certain, things in their life. And for me, I don't understand why in this day and age it's still so relevant to people what they're attracted to or who they want to be with in their personal lives. Yet sadly, people do judge. And I'm very, very pleased for Ramsdale to come out there and support his brother. I don't know if everyone else here has got a brother. I've got a brother. I support him in everything he does. He supports everything. So, yeah, for me, you can't get much better than that. Showing your love to your brother and making him feel safe in a space that he should feel safe in anyway. But regardless, yeah, it was a lovely thing to say and do from Ramsdale. I was very, very, very pleased of him because, the LGBTQ community had someone that they thought was an ally in Jordan Henderson, and sadly, that's gone a bit awry now with him leaving and going into Saudi Arabia. So hopefully if Ramsdale becomes this new sort of ally for them and takes that role on per se, then so be it. Yeah, I'm proud of him. and he saved 2 penalties this week as well. So
I'll
he's
talk,
had
talk about that in a moment
you,
as well.
you said you had a good week this week. He's had a bloody good one as well.
Has he, hasn't he? Albert, do you think he was brave? Do you think he's going to be supported? Obviously, will be supported teammates and actually rival teammates as well. But what about the crowds when he's, playing up at maybe away to Tottenham? Obviously, you had that situation, didn't he, last year where that fan attacked him? Um, brave boy to do it, and I'm very proud of him as well.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the word brave because sort of going through the article, he mentioned about he doesn't think he's brave. When he talks about being brave, he talks about his brother. And yeah, when it is about when you see a lot of things on Twitter, you think, okay, what's this about then? So I saw that he obviously did a piece. Then when you kind of, I don't know how you guys are when you see people that do articles, but you see how long it is first. So I thought when I saw how long it was, I thought I better start reading this from the beginning. So no, it's incredible, and I think the key thing as well, what Ramsdale spoke about, and I don't know what you two guys think and people in the chat, but I think this is particularly when footballers speak about things that are not related to football or a little bit related to football. There seems to be this attitude that you should stick to what you're good at or stick to what you know about. And he did mention that. He did actually touch reference point about that. I think Marcus Rashford's a perfect example. The politicians weighed in at their opinions, but he's done more for people of this society than a lot of the members who are holding government right now. So yeah, fair play to Aaron Ramsdale. James made a good point in regards to the interest from Arsenal. He said, what do you mean by interest? What does that mean? And he obviously spoke to Bukayo Saka and said, is this for real? He said, yeah, the gaffer, he spoke to me and started to what's about your character and that. But he raised a good point, Amanda, in terms of the Arsenal fans' attitude towards him when the signing was made and him coming here. And I was shocked that we signed him, not because it's to do with relegation battles or anything like that. I just didn't see it coming. But yeah, some of the Arsenal fans' is response to him, I can understand why he would talk about that. And why would you not talk about that? Why would you not mention that? Because it's the happiest day of your life. You're joining a massive, massive football club. And he's talking about, there's people he looked up to in terms of ex-professional footballers. And they're saying he's not good enough. And that's people that played the game. Because there's a great emphasis on that, people who played the game, they know better than anybody else. And we got to hold them to a higher esteem. And you got your ex players panning you basically. So it's like, wow, is this what it's about? So fair play to him. A fantastic article, and yeah, more footballers should do it, to be honest with you.
Maybe we will see a Premier League footballer come out, and maybe it will just be normal in years to come, because it should be normal. It should just not need to be discussed. And I go back to some of my summer shows, and I had 3 of the gay gooners on, and I mean, you boys know me, and everyone in the chat room, everyone who listens to this show, I'm never speechless. I'm never lost for words. I've always got something to say. That's just me. However, when they told me they don't feel safe with some of our fans at away games, I didn't expect that to come out of their mouths. And I didn't know what to say, because I go to football and I go to away games, and I have done for many, many years. Even when in my teenage years, I've never not felt safe with our fans, ever. Yet they don't, and they're Arsenal fans, and they're passionate Arsenal fans. And maybe people would like to go back and listen. And obviously, they're all on our audio platforms. If you'd want to listen to how their story was incredible, and they were then, excuse me, they were then asked. The guy that actually was on the podcast was asked to be on Sky Sports to talk about Aaron Ramsdale's article, and I just love them all. And do you know what it is? Arsenal, one family. As I say before, I don't care if you're in Africa, Zanzibar, New Zealand, or North London. If you support Arsenal, you're one of my lot, and that is it. I don't care where you are. It's really interesting. I had a family podcast was my last one. There was 5 of us on. It was brilliant. Okay, but we had to do it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon because my cousin lives in Australia. He comes over for big Arsenal games, but he's in Australia. And we were talking, and I just dropped in. There's a lot of tourist fans, and he jumped at me and said, "We're not tourists, Amanda. We're as passionate over here if we need to come and get tickets just because we're from another country. And he's right. And I didn't mean it in that way. I just meant because people say tourist fans, don't they? And I just meant people from another country. I said, no, you're right, Andrew. You're totally right. I didn't mean it in that way. Anyone should be welcome at the Emirates. Skin colour, religion, it don't matter. If you're Arsenal, you're Arsenal. I think people now are coming to terms with the fact that, and I've said this to Carl and he laughed at me. He did. I said, I think in about 5 years' time, there'll be more Arsenal fans in the whole of America than there are in England. There are thousands and thousands and thousands everywhere. If you're not on social media, you wouldn't know this. My cousin didn't really know it. He's not on social media, the other cousin. So it was really interesting. I'm very, very, very proud of Aaron Ramsdale. I'm so proud of him. And I've always loved him. And heartbreaking story about his wife miscarrying and now pregnant,
World
and
Cup.
and when that Tottenham fan attacked him and the way he spoke, said, look, if we were down the pub we'd probably get on well. Big up to Mr. Ramsdale. Very proud of you. We all support you, and please God your brother feels safe to come to the Emirates and enjoys watching his brother play football. Let's get to football now. So this week James and I were talking on WhatsApp. Sorry, Albert, you weren't involved. We weren't talking about you though.
No,
And we were talking about this game. And James said to me, "We got to win it." And I said, "It's the Charity Shield. It's a friendly. If we don't win, we don't win." And he was saying to me, "Weren't you, James? Yeah, but it's not about that. It's about the mentality." And I think because I was so in a bubble with my engagement, my birthday, the wedding, that I hadn't really thought. And then when it got to the last 48 hours, I was like, do you know what? We got to beat City. We've just got to beat City, James, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, he's taken up a lot of the podcast, but coverage over here, sorry if you're overseas and didn't get to see it. ITV, the broadcaster, interviewed Declan Rice and Aaron Ramsdale together. And they asked Aaron Ramsdale what it means. And he said exactly the same. He went, as a mentality, and to lay down, this team needed to lay down a marker that we can beat Manchester City. And okay, we've not beat them in 90 minutes. And it was like a rotated side. And we've had 2 more weeks than them. But like I said, mentally, we just needed to know that we can beat this team going into the next season. And we've done it now, regardless of how it was. We've won. It is. People go, oh, it's a trophy. Some of them players in there, that's the first trophy they've ever won. So it's like it's a building block to continuing to win. Everybody used to years ago when Jose Mourinho won the League Cup all the time with Chelsea, and when Pep's done it, they go, oh yeah, it's good because he breeds that winning mentality from the January or the February when that final is. It's like, right, there you go, now kick on and let's win the league, or let's win something else on top of winning this League Cup. So yeah, for me, winning breeds winning, and I'm over the moon. And I tell you what, some of the players today, especially the new boys, apart from missing a few sitters, I thought everybody done really well out of all the new lot. I was very, very impressed.
We'll get to them. We're going to go by player, I think, today. I think that might be the best way. Albert, so I've always seen the Charity Shield. I generally don't watch it unless we're in it, of course. It's not something I bother watching. It's a friendly, no such thing anymore. Proper, you could tell. Today actually felt, without plutzing, actually felt like a real game, didn't it? Like, tackles were flying in. Look at that Palmer kicking Trossard at the corner flag, for God's sake. It was going mad. And we're going to talk about the referee and the yellow cards. There's so much to talk about. However, I was a bit upset, if I'm honest. I'm just so gutted that Jesus is injured. It just sort of soured it a little bit for me, because I'm like, Jesus Christ. Actually, Jesus. Again, Albert. The club is saying a few weeks. People have said 6 weeks. My dad reckons October because that's my dad. What do you think?
Well, they said it's not. He's had a minor surgery on the knee, but I think it's the same knee, isn't it, as he had issues with before. But listen, we can only trust what they're saying, that he's not going to be out for a long time. Because I saw the meltdown that we should. The striker talk's been spoken about for a while anyway. But listen, it is what it is. I don't think they're going to buy a striker, but that's the end of that. But yeah, in terms of sort of the game, I think James touches on a good point, man. Like, it's You go and tell them Arsenal players at the end of the match that it's only pre-season. Go and tell them that and see what they tell you. The fact of the matter is, you ain't beat this side since 2019. And football's about many things. It's about opinion. It's about people wanting to tear each other's heads off in terms of social media. But one thing it definitely is about, it's about psychology. And beating them today was massive. I don't care if it was on penalties. I didn't really care if it was in 90 minutes or it was a fluky effort, a goal or a mistake. It doesn't matter. When you're coming up against a team that's got your number, and not only that, it's got your number, a team that is treble winners, juggernaut. Declan Rice mentioned it after the match, Amanda. Like it's difficult to play them, you know. City, people talk about, oh yeah, they're 2 weeks behind in preseason, but I don't care. If you watch the first 20 minutes, come back and tell me that they're 2 weeks behind in preseason. Because Arsenal found it very difficult to get out. They did. I don't want to say too much more, Amanda, because you would have probably
because we'll go into it.
Go on.
But it's disappointing, but hopefully it's minor. You know, I think Jesus would have had a field day today and would have been everywhere, and it's great. And one of the things that I'm loving at the moment is I'm forgetting the decent players we've got, because we've got squad depth, James. Finally, squad depth. How long has it taken to get to this place where this one's injured, we bring another one in that's just as good? So, okay. It's been a wonderful afternoon, from 1-0 down to 1-0 in 101 minutes to penalties. So let's start at the beginning, okay? I thought we were going to lose. Albert and James, what was your sort of predictions for today?
I said we'd win 2-1 all week.
Right, fine.
Yeah.
Albert?
I'll be honest with you, man. I actually wasn't really sure. I kind of just had the mindset that for me, it's important Arsenal won. It didn't matter, and regardless how they done it, but I was kind of 50-50, I'll be honest with you. I wasn't sure.
No, I thought we were going to lose. And I thought the whole of social media and will be like on the floor and screaming at Arteta and all this nonsense.
They do that anyway.
Yeah, well, there's always going to be some, and there's always some that just look to cause controversy where they shouldn't be. You know, I just thought I'm not a manager. I've never been a football manager. I trust Arteta. If he plays Havertz up front and doesn't bring Trossard on, didn't put Trossard there to start, you knew Trossard was going to come on. So for me, I had no issues with anything. I learnt my lesson many years ago when I was a young teen, when I moaned about the team, and I was wrong. So you learn. So James, he puts the team out. Wembley's filled with all our fans. There was 81,000 there. I didn't hear a City song, and that's not me being biased. All I could hear was our fans. I heard the first song I heard was LA LA LA. Can't wait to start singing it back next Saturday. And before I just do that, sorry, I must say, people in the chat room, please start with your questions. I'm going to start to bring them in when they're relevant, and if not, second half of the show for the boys. Okay. And also, there's quite a few of you in the chat room tonight, which is fantastic. Please press like. That would be lovely. Right, let's get to it. James, Aaron Ramsdale, what do you think of his performance? I'm going to say this to all of you, to both of you, and we'll go through each player.
Okay, for me, I thought that he made a very, very good save from the Stones header. There was one bit in the second half near the end where he passed the ball into the oncoming press, which is worrying. He's done that a few times recently.
Yeah.
I thought it was very, very good when he had it and it was coming across. I mean, when you've got the 6'6" Norwegian Viking charging you down, you've got to get that ball away because he is going through. If he's not going to catch up with you, he's going to go straight through you. But he managed to get that out as well. And yeah, he saved his penalties again. And you know what? I think Turner is going to be going. And as much as people go, oh, you know, 30 million on Raya as a backup goalkeeper, surely that means he's going to be the number one. Maybe he is. But if that's what Arteta wants, I'm happy for it. And as much as we've gone on about Aaron Ramsdale, it's been a very Aaron Ramsdale-centric podcast, hasn't it? He's had like we said, he's had a very, very big week. But I think he will relish this. I've seen his dad elsewhere say that he will relish it. And I think every player, like you said, Amanda, about the depth, every player needs to have their head, turning, going, oh, I got him next to me. In pre-season for me, our best player was Thomas Partey and Trossard. Thomas Partey has stepped up because he's looking to the side of him now going, cool, there's a guy who cost 105 million that wants my shirt. I better buck my ideas up. And Trossard, he's like, well, Havertz can go wide. Havertz can play in that 8. They're the 2 positions that I'm looking at playing. So, but I love Trossard, and we'll get into Trossard later. I love this guy. I absolutely love this
I've
guy.
changed my mind, boys. Let's just talk about the whole. Let's just talk about the back 5. Okay, I think that's
Okay.
instead of going these
Right,
players.
just quick. I'll wrap it
go
up
on.
as
You
quick
can
as
talk
I
about
can.
the defence.
Man of the match, it was easily Saliba. I don't know how Lee Dixon can give it to a guy that touches the ball twice in 10 minutes. He scored a screamer, but how he can give it to a guy that touched the ball twice in 10 minutes, I have no idea.
No,
Saliba, clearly man of the match. He was not having Haaland today. He's like twice last season, because he didn't play in the third one, did he? He's like, twice last season, you embarrassed me. And he went, I ain't having it today. And I'll tell you what, people going on about the trophies we will win, we would have won the sweet FA Cup if we hadn't assigned. That's Saliba is the most important player that we have signed this summer. We would win nothing without him having his contract renewed. We would win absolutely nothing. This guy potentially could be player of the season for the whole league.
If he stays fit, and that is why we didn't win the end of the season.
But he is incredible. He was so good today, on the ball, off the ball, winning his headers, everything. Love him.
Yeah, I do as well. But I think we can't not discuss Jurrien Timber. Seriously, Albert, what a player. I mean, he came close to my man of the match.
Timber. Go on, Timber, son. I wanted to say that for ages. Yeah, listen, I'll say this is the first. I did watch some of the preseason games. I did. But today I had a keen eye on Timber, man. Listen, we got this guy for a snip, man. And I'm not saying that just because after today I've seen enough in the preseason. He just looks good on the ball, man, and he can cover at centre half as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he develops this season. And people put the question in the chat already, talking about Zinchenko, will he get back in the team? And good, make them fight for their place. And we got cover in every single defensive position, and including the goalkeepers. Touch wood, the deal will go through for Raya. So no, I was very impressed with Jurrien Timber, and it's a good shout to argue for a man in the match. Lee Dixon, I think they asked him too early, to be honest with you, but maybe that's probably had to give it. But no, I'm very, very impressed. Defensively, Saliba was excellent today, man. Really, really good. He's going to be integral for us. The whole defense unit will be, to be fair. Ben White had some good moments today. Gabriel didn't have any awkward moments today, which was quite nice to discuss. But man, I said this about defense now. This has begun into the 3rd season now. That give them time. They will be the bedrock of this team. I said, trust me. And obviously additions have come into that as well to make competition a bit more, make people fight for their place. You need that at Arsenal. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this defense gets on. Listen, we should, to be honest, the biggest compliment I can play to the defense, not just today, but from what I've seen in the last couple of years, is I actually think we should have more clean sheets last season in the Premier League than we did get. We got a few, but we should have got more. And I'm looking forward to seeing how defensively how we are this season, because we've got fullback areas where he likes to play the inverted fullbacks and that can come into midfield. So you've got players that can play on both sides of that position. So it's about gelling that together with the midfield players that we've got. But I was very pleased with what I saw from the defense today, to be fair.
Okay, so Deadstone, welcome to the show. I think you're a newbie. Thank you for your question. James, with Timber coming in, do you sell Tierney? Why I ask is Tierney's like 3rd choice, Timber, Zinni and Kiwior all start in front of KT. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I don't think he's wrong at all. Sadly, I would like to keep Kieran Tierney because, unlike the others, he's an actual natural left back. So instead of doing all this which is great, by the way, because it's clearly working. You know, if you want to play an actual left back that will bomb up and down, can get crosses in, can put passes in, Tierney is the only one that's still there to do it. And also, there's something about having, I know years and years ago we had that British core, but it was the likes of Jenkins, you know, they weren't, do you know what I mean? Tierney for me he's an influencer. I think he can get up people. He can get something out of them. You know, he can get an extra 10 or 15% of energy out of people. He's got that kind of personality. So I would like Tierney to stay. However, he is, again, as much as people still want Balogun to stay, but I think he's finished. He didn't even make the bench today. So I think he's completely finished at this club now.
I was a bit disappointed at that, but we'll get to him in a minute.
Yeah, I just think, I think he is, next to Balogun, of all the players that we've got that we can sell and make good money on, Kieran Tierney is that next best sellable asset. So, or it would be Smith Rowe, but I don't want to even talk about selling Smith Rowe. I'm not even going down that road.
So Albert, we've got a lot of games to play. We've got 4 cups. We need everybody. And as someone said in the chat room, Zinni gets injured quite a bit. You know, Tierney does get injured. I think if we could, we'd keep them, wouldn't we, Albert?
Yeah, the interesting move is, the interesting thing with Zinchenko is, if anybody actually looked at his I'll say medical report at City, it weren't very good about that. But so when I look at the games he's missed at Arsenal, am I totally shocked? No. Same with Tierney, we've had for 2-3 years now. It's not a surprise. You don't ideally want to buy players that are injury prone. We want to do that. No football club wants to do that, but it happens. So it's funny because even if you go to the goalkeeping situation, in terms of potentially bringing in David Raya, he's got some brilliant stats, by the way. I was looking at them last week. I was like, well, you know, he would be a very good addition, to be fair to him. He's had a good season at Brentford, but sometimes the Arsenal fans, I don't get it. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. You talk about competition, you talk about having more than one player in strength in a particular position. David Raya's linked, and you say, why are we buying a goalkeeper? I know a lot of Arsenal fans, whether they want to admit it or not, looked at Matt Turner and thought, actually, you know what? We do need a better goalkeeper. And David Raya would be that. So I don't really understand the logic in having any complaints about that. That makes no sense to me. But I don't know the sense of every Arsenal fan out there, so I'm not too sure. But Amanda, what's the last bit you asked me again? Sorry, the question.
No, I mean, we'd keep them, wouldn't we? Because we've got a lot of games, Albert.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's the thing. So if you want to be competitive in the Champions League, because let's be honest, it's better than Europa League. The standard's going to be better. If you want to get to knockout stages, you've got the 2 domestic cups as well. Premier League. So there's going to be a lot of games. They play a lot of games of football anyway, footballers. So you're going to need that strength in depth, man. So I'd say to Arsenal fans, look, do you want to repeat of the last couple of months of last season? Now, it's a rhetorical question because I already know the answer. But, you know, we need to strengthen. I still think we need, even if we get Raya in, for example, Amanda, right? Would I be totally happy with Arsenal transfer window? I still want one more in, but that would be a striker. But I don't think Arsenal are going to do that, because if you look at at the top end of the pitch, Saka, Martinelli, Jesus, Havertz, Trossard, Reece Nelson's on the injury table again, unfortunately. There's a lot of options there. So, and Balogun will be sold. I've said that I said it last season, actually. I think he'd go. But they need to get the right money for him. But Arsenal have got a lot of attacking options, and if they're going to go down the route of goals by committee, then they're not going to bring a striker in. And getting a striker in the man is very difficult, because who's out there? Osherman, Lewandowski's in his 30s, Kane's possibly going to Bayern Munich. There's not many out there, really. United are paying a lot of money for potential in Højlund. It's a lot of money, but it's
so
hard.
why not try Balogun? I don't really get it. I'd want to give him a go and see.
He's had his chance, Amanda. If you read because he's been with the group. But Arteta has said he's completely alienated himself. You know, he made him train on his own because he's been disruptive to the group. And I'm sorry, as much as I liked Guendouzi and his perm, if you're this is the best group we've had in a long time. If you're coming in and being a nuisance in this group, I don't care who you are, get out. And as much as I think Balogun could develop and be an amazing, amazing striker, I've seen better players than Balogun in my 30 odd years of supporting Arsenal that have left than him. So I got no qualms whatsoever with him going. That's his thing.
I didn't know that he'd been disruptive training. I didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
So that's fair enough. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Then no, we don't want that. We don't want the Guendouzis.
Look at his old attitude on social media. All he's done this week is take photos of Inter Milan this, Inter Milan that. He removed Arsenal from his bio. The whole time we were in America, it was all about me being in America. He never said anything about being at Arsenal. Never did any. You know, nah. For me, sorry. You think you're the big I am already.
The thing, just to come on the back of James, sorry, bro. Yeah, and the thing is, I get it. He's had a good season in League One, Amanda, but you know, it's quite obvious he wanted reassurances that he's going to get given quite a bit of game time. But then I understand Arteta's point to say, well, actually, no, I can't guarantee you that because there's better players that can probably offer me more in the system that I want to play. Then whose place is he going to take? Because from what I've seen of him, he doesn't look like somebody that can play wide right, wide left. So it'd either be unless he's going to take the place of Jesus, and that's not going to happen.
So John Rose says, should we buy a striker? So I think we're all in agreement that yes. Then
yeah, or you buy another player that can cover Saka's position, but also play as a number 9, which was Kudus. But it looks like he might be going to Brighton now, so we'll have to find another one. But yeah, if after, I think we're going to sign Raya, and I think after that it's probably business finito.
I think it's done.
However, like Albert said, and people have said in the chat, Albert, you're greedy. Albert's not greedy. Albert's got a brain. He knows. He sees these things like most of us do. We need one. He was
laughing.
So if we can get one, we'll have one. Why? This is another thing I don't understand. With the Raya signing, people are like, no, don't do that. It will upset Ramsdale. Why is it that you don't want as many good footballers at this club that you can get? It'd be like somehow if Mbappe wanted to join Arsenal. No, I don't sign him. It'll upset Jesus. What are you talking about? You want as many good footballers in this team as we can possibly get and keep them happy and everything else. It's madness.
We've touched on the defence. We're going to come to the forward line in a moment, but let's just go to now Thomas Partey, Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard. Albert, I felt Partey was at fault with the goal. Let him run through him. And if you watch the goal, they were bloody lucky, City, because one of our defenders cleared it. It headed off a City player right onto Palmer's foot. Yes, you can't take away what a brilliant goal. I'd never do that. But they're so lucky sometimes that we would not get that luck. We just don't get that sort of luck. However, we then, obviously, what happened after, but I just want to talk about that. But apart from that, I thought Thomas Partey was excellent through the game. It was just that moment.
Yeah, he has them bozo moments, Amanda. Like I sometimes I just want to jump through the television and just wring his neck. I said, "What are you doing? Like you're an experienced player." For the goal, like I see what he's trying to do. Most midfield players in that position will try and do that. Will try and win the ball. Will try and press the ball. Will try not let Foden turn. Foden spins him. It's game over. But then you still got there's still a lot to happen before the ball goes in the back of the net, and obviously Thomas Partey getting spun like the way he did. Listen, let's have it right. Yes, he did fall off the last couple of months of the season, but a lot of the last season he was brilliant, Amanda, and he was very good today, by the way. I think with him and Declan Rice needs time. Yes, they've both been in the Premier League a number of years now, but you ain't played together. There's different between playing against somebody and when you're playing with somebody. It's completely different. It may sound crazy, but you know, there's still aspects of our midfield where Arteta's probably still looking at thinking, Erdegaard obviously plays, but what's my best combination? How am I going to get the best out of Rice and Partey? And that's what preseason's for. You saw bits of it today. Can I talk about Declan Rice?
Yeah, we're going to go on to Declan Rice. Go on. And then
Yeah,
I'll go to
Jollof
James.
Rice. Yep, Declan. Love him.
Jollof.
Love him. Listen, happy. He showed flashes of people like Lee Dixon, like Dicko, man. Like,
Yeah,
this
let's just
guy,
talk
man.
about Lee Dixon for a second, Albert, because he sounded today, and I know he has to be impartial. He can't be an Arsenal fan, and actually he was a City fan growing up. However, it sounded like he just didn't even want us to win. And it was so depressing at times that I thought, I've never, ever in my whole life, and I've been on podcasts with Lee Dixon, ever slagged the man off. But if I saw him tonight and I was on a podcast, I'd go, what was wrong with you? Because I just felt he
Yeah,
was very
like,
down on us. I mean, we're going to talk about the ref in a second because I want to talk about that and the new rules and that. But Declan Rice, for me, with what Dicko was saying, didn't ring true. He's not going to just walk into our team and play like £105 million player. And I tell you why, Albert, because he wasn't playing in a team like Arsenal. West
exactly.
Ham were going to be relegated. All he tried to do was fight and keep them up, and he kept them up. He kept them up. So he's now coming to our team. It's going to take time. But that price tag, Albert, as he said, it's nothing to do with him. He just wants to play football.
Exactly. No, you make a good point because I as you know me and Mandinja, I don't lose my rag or get too upset about it. But there was a part when Declan Rice, if you look at his stat pad, right, they compared it against the Arsenal midfield players last season. There was some very surprise in a favor of Declan Rice, by the way. Declan Rice is very good at winning the ball back. And there was a point at the match today where he probably ran like 60 yards and he nicked the ball for one of the Man City players. And I thought, Lee, like, you're watching that as a commentator. Like, you're just passing it off as if it's nothing. I'm like,
yeah.
Like, are you serious? Like, Declan Rice has made a habit of doing this. And you need, when you don't have possession, it's important how you recycle it and win it back. And Declan Rice will add that to this Arsenal team. I mean, you saw it in small bits today, and it trust me, under Arteta, it will be brilliant. So yeah, I won't talk much more about Lee Dixon, but yeah, Declan Rice is a good today, man. Listen, I thought it was okay from what I saw. Even mentioned it as I said before in the interview with Ramsdale at the end, is that you're playing against City on Big Wembley pitch. It's not easy, man. Like they're a good possession-based side, man. They pull you all over the place. You saw particularly in the first half when they would to 20-25 minutes, the main triggers were Erdegaard and Rice trying to win the ball back and get some pattern or wrestle the ball back, but it just didn't work. But I thought it was solid today, man, and it'll only get better. You understand? And that's for Martin Erdegaard quickly. I'll finish.
Did you see that ball?
He grew into the game brilliantly. He was excellent. Yeah, yes, the first 20 minutes was difficult for a lot of the Arsenal players, but once we got control when we came back into the game after that 25-30 minutes, he was excellent, man. Rolls Royce. When he sold Kovacic a dream on the touchline, that was just elegant. When you get him on the ball, he will make us tick. And he did it last year. He had a brilliant season last season, goals and assists. I expect the same this season. He's got a lot more, I'd say, protection around him. But yeah, moments today, he was brilliant, Martin Odegaard.
James, Partey, Rice, Erdegaard. Sound like a firm of solicitors.
Yeah, for me, Thomas Partey, I agree with Albert. You see him do the excellent and the sublime, and then you see what leads to the goal. Yeah. And again, for me, I know Tierney come off the bench and he's out the cold. You can't let a winger sidestep you like that. You have to win that duel. You know, I'm sorry if that's Zinchenko, and he cuts in and whips it top corner. Zinchenko's in The Hague on the timeline from people, because people already dig out Zinchenko for how bad of a defender he is, rightfully so. But I'm like, you can't have it both ways. You've got to call it as you see it, which is that there. For me, Declan Rice, yeah, he's got an adjustment period of playing in the 8. He's normally been a 6, but we're playing him in an 8 role. He can do it. He's got the legs to do it. He's got the brain to do it. Just wait. He hasn't had a full pre-season. Remember, he got injured. He's coming back off that. He looked absolutely knackered when he come off. But yeah, he'll be fine. Declan Rice is class. Class is forever. So don't worry about that. And then Odegaard, I agree with Albert. First half, I thought he played a few good balls, but he was very, very quiet for me. And there was a lot of, people, because there's still a lot of people that judge Martin Odegaard. You had one on here, Amanda. There's a lot of. I saw a lot of it already going. Oh, is he like Thierry Henry? He's good in everything but a final. He's never. Thierry Henry never had a good final for us. He did, which is true. Thierry Henry never did have a good final for us.
No,
very, very true.
Yeah.
And I was like, And but no, he grew into the game and he got very much better. And you know what? I agree with Albert again. I'll keep agreeing with you, Albert, so much. It's, you're probably going to get bored of it, aren't you? He can take a bit more risks now because he's got the two behind him, 100%. Which is what he did. Like you said, when he grew into the game, I think he realised, he was like, oh, wait a minute, I'm going to take a few on here. I'm going to have a bit more of a chance because I've got the two behind me that will protect me. And then if they get past them two, you've got the other two big ones behind them. So it's all good. Don't worry. Our midfield's fine.
Yeah. I just, Odegaard, I really struggled last season to pick between him and Saka for player of the year. I just called it Saka-Gard because I just love Martin Odegaard as a captain. Declan Rice, as I said, it will take time. He already looks like an Arsenal player. He acts like an Arsenal player. He's absolutely over the moon that he's here. You can tell that. He's appreciative. Thomas Partey, as I said to Carl, he's absolutely brilliant, but when he's bad, he's terrible. I watched it when I was away at West Ham when Declan took the ball off him. Our Declan. If only he'd have known. Then, but I'm loving, keep him fit. Just keep him fit. And then we go to Saka, who I thought was a little bit lost today. Not the end of the world, obviously. Then there was Havertz. Then we've got Martinelli. Now, Albert, Havertz gets gets chosen ahead of Trossard. Some of Twitter blows up. I don't really care what anyone says anyway. I just go with the manager. You knew he was going to bring Trossard on anyway, regardless. I was okay with the lineup. And out of those three, just quickly go over Saka, Havertz, and Martinelli.
Yes, I'll start with Havertz. Actually, that's really easy one to start with. You know what? When we signed him, I was a bit unsure. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't dead against it, but I was unsure. But listen, if you speak to a lot of Arsenal fans, they wanted him before he came to Chelsea. To be fair, so who am I to argue? But I think if you're going to play him, and like I said, I can only go off today. He should have scored a couple. Definitely the second one, anyway. Definitely the second one, but a bit unlucky with the first one. But I guess it's where you're playing, but I would expect to see him more. If I'm being honest, my own personal opinion is where Xhaka played last season. I think I'm not saying you can't play him where you played him today, because I think what it does, it gives Arsenal an option where they can go from back to front a bit quicker and they can go a bit more direct. But if you're going to do that, he's got to hold the ball up a bit better than what he done, particularly in the second half. To be fair, in the second half, we didn't really create anything, if I'm being honest. So it's quite, even Stephen, we didn't really create a lot. But I think with Havertz, it's demand. I think for me, in a nutshell with him, it's just going to see how he develops this season, really. And I mean the entire season, not going, oh, he's done rubbish for the first 3 months. Let's bin him off. See how he does this season. Because obviously he must have seen something in him to say to the hierarchy, yeah, you know what, sanction it, bring him into Arsenal, make him a better player. So it's got to be something there. But I think there's a bit of pressure on him, man. It's not just pressure in terms of coming to a big club like Arsenal, because he's at a big club like Chelsea, but I just think with the backdrop of how he's performed in the last couple of years, yeah, it'd have been nice for him to get one of the goals, or if not both today, but it didn't happen. But I'm not going to be here to kind of hammer him. Listen, if he gives poor performances, I'll tell you he's given a poor performance. But I expect to see more, but time will tell of him. In terms of Martinelli, he looked sharp for me. He did look sharp. He's up against a very good fullback, by the way. Carl Walker's no slouch. He's experienced. I hope he leaves City, to be honest. I'll see the back of him. But yeah, I'm looking for to see how he gets on. I said with Martinelli going into last season, the biggest thing I want to see from him is more goals. He definitely delivered that. What I want to see from him more this season is the same goals as last season, but just he needs to assist more, Amanda. Because if you're playing in that front three position, yes, it's important you score goals. But for me, there's times last season where he just needs to get his head up a little bit. It's such a small, slight adjustment, which he will get better, but he should have a lot more assist than what he had last season. And that's the tiniest criticism I will give him. And who's the other player again? Saka.
Yeah, but can I just ask this question? Because Phil said, can anyone give me something positive about Havertz? I don't think we should play him up front, especially ahead of Trossy. I thought he had an okay game. I really did. But Albert, just go on that. Would you have picked him ahead of Trossard? And then we can talk about Saka and we'll go to James.
Yeah, but I think the thing is with Havertz, I get the question, but with Havertz, he does give a different dynamic just for simple fact that he gives us a bit more physicality. That's why he played down the middle. I'm not saying Trossard can't play there, but then you would adjust the way you're playing to fit him in. I think Trossard's been unlucky, to be honest with you. I think he should have played more than he did last season. He's been excellent since he come to us. Technically, he's fantastic. He knows how to score goals. You can trust him, and he's an Arteta type player. So I get the question, but you don't pay £65 million for a player to sit him on the bench. So that's my answer to that. In regards to Saka, quickly, I thought he picked up a little bit when after the first 20-25 minutes, there was a good bit of great triangles between him and Ødegaard and Ben White on that right-hand side. And listen, Bukayo Saka, believe it or not, Arsenal fans, there's gonna be games where you're gonna find it a little bit more difficult because as you saw last season, they doubled up on him. Whoever we played, Emirates away games, minute he gets the ball, 3 players are on him, 2 players are on him. He's a very targeted man. Listen, he'll still find the time to find space and to create havoc and to create danger, but sometimes he's not going to be fantastic. But Saka will always give you probably 8 out of 10s every week, if not 7 out of 10. So yeah, I'm not too worried about what I saw today. I thought in bits he was good, Amanda, but listen, he's not going to tear it up every single week.
Okay, James. So we're talking about Havertz, we're talking about Martinelli, Saka having a bit of a quiet game, which is not a problem. What's your take on that?
So yeah, I could see why Havertz was picked. I would have picked Trossard because, like I said, I think he's been our best player in the pre-season. But I can see why Havertz was picked. The 3 times we played Man City last season, they went high and then they pinged us long over the top. Arteta probably looked at that and thought, I can do the same to you. I can push my defence high and I can ping it over the top to Havertz, who's 6'4". Hopefully he gets a knockdown to one of the wide players and then we shift and do something like that. It's all about the versatility. And also with Havertz, he's very comfortable from when he was at Bayern Leverkusen at playing in the wide spaces. So if you watch during the game, there were times where Saka was up front or as the false 9. Martinelli was and Havertz was either on the left or the right-hand side. So it's all about the interchanging and the versatility during the game, which I haven't got a problem with. The thing is, like Phil's put, he's going to be judged because of his price on his output in front of goal. And he did miss. I think the first one's a bit harsh because he's more difficult. But the second one, yes, he should have scored. He has to score the second one. But people, short memories. Remember last year's Community Shield? There was a big 6'+ guy who was up front for Man City who had a stinker. All of a sudden, he's gone and scored 50+ goals this season. Now, Havertz isn't going to score 50+. If he does, my word. And I don't think Havertz is going to score 50+ goals for Arsenal this season. But let's not write him off after one game.
No.
Let's,
so in answer
give it
to
a bit
Carl's
more
question,
time.
James, should Leo Trossard start ahead of Havertz? Do you both agree that he should?
Me personally, yes. But I look at the game next week. They're going to play 5 at the back and they're big, broody, get it up your type of players at Forest. So I think he might go for Havertz again, just like for what I said, pinging it long and winging it and then getting your Martinellis and your Sakas in out wide.
And that's what Anthony Barker just asked. Do you think Trossard should start next week? So both of you think he should start, yeah?
I want him to, but I don't think he will.
Yeah, same here.
Okay, cool. Saka and Martinelli quickly, James.
Yeah, again, the biggest thing for me for Saka was he got his penalty at Wembley and he scored it. Like Stuart
Yeah.
Pearce when he missed his years and years ago, and then he got the redemption in '96. Even though it was the worst of the 4 penalties, he nearly kicked the ball twice, but he scored it. We win. Yeah, happy days. Nah, I love them. I love Saka and Martinelli.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Timber helped Martin. Timber, Rice, and Martinelli in that left channel today. We've been such a right side dominant team for years, but them three on the left as well, they're just as good as what's on the right hand side. I know a lot come from the right, where Ben White had a few good overlaps and underlaps, but yeah, no, we're just as good attacking down the left than we are attacking on the right now, which is scary. Be prepared, Premier League, we're coming.
Question from Carl. Rumours of Palace interest in Eddie. Should we sell him if we get an offer of 30 million? Albert?
He's rumoured before, wasn't he, when Vieira's there? Would I sell him? Yeah, I would actually. I would.
Okay.
If Arsenal needs to recruit, what Arsenal needs to do better is recuperate money, which is a work in progress. I'll put it politely, yeah.
Okay, James.
Depends if we're looking at actually spending on a replacement, then yeah. But I wouldn't sell Eddie now if we're not going to sign somebody else. If you said to me, if Carl goes to me, James, we're going to sell Eddie to Palace for 30 mil and we're going to go buy Ollie Watkins from Aston Villa, yeah, I'll shake your hand. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But if we're just going to leave it blank, no.
Yeah, then you wouldn't. I agree.
Can you imagine if we sold him and Balogun?
And then no one.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would do that.
Yeah, it'd be Havertz up top, wouldn't it? No.
William Jack's got a question. As always on Twitter, poor Rob Holding has been savaged. What do the panel think about his Arsenal future? Do you think he's staying? Because I haven't heard any rumours about him.
Besiktas offered us 2 million, which is insulting.
Yeah,
it is insulting. His hair transplants in Turkey cost more than 2 million. So why? No way. No. I think someone might come in for him towards the. He's good enough to be a defender for a lower sort of team in the league that maybe does play a back 3 or a back 5, and he could just head it the whole game and just play little simple balls out and everything else like that. Is he good enough for Arsenal now? I don't think so, but that's not his fault. People like to blame him personally. It's not his fault he's not good enough for how Arsenal have developed tactically and professionally over the years. It's not his fault at all. But yeah, I like Holding as a person. I hope he does go somewhere and plays every week.
Okay, so I've got a lot of questions and a lot of anger. And we'll start with Debbie McGeaney. Thank you, Debbie. Welcome to the show. Can we just talk about how bad Stuart Atwell was today? Unbelievable how much he was letting the Man City players get away with. Now, I never follow the sheep. I never follow crowds. Sorry, I'm not a sheep. I'll always say what I think. I stand up for what I believe in. I literally said I didn't know there was new rules or new understandings that if you kick the ball away, you get booked. Fine.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then Partey deserved it and the Man City player got booked. But what about normal fouls, Albert? What about normal fouls that Rodri was doing constantly and never gets booked? And a Liverpool mate of mine says he does it all the time and he never gets booked. What was going on with the ref today? Did he feel under pressure because Webb was in the, is it Howard Webb?
Yeah, that's right. You got it.
And then he got booed because
that was funny. That was funny. I thought it was funny personally. But.
So what was going on, Albert, with the referee, do you think?
Do you want me to be polite with my reply and Amanda? Or
no one else has been polite in here, that's for sure.
What's the time now? Is it 8:30? Right. All right.
No, you can't swear.
No, I won't swear anyway. In regards to Stuart Atwell, he's never been a good referee.
Right.
I'm being polite by saying that. I don't recall any game I've seen in referee where I've said, you know what, he's got that right, or he's done a role in a pressure cooker situation. Like that ref, like Anthony Taylor had to deal with in that conference final, that Europa League final, that was disgraceful to referee that game. Good Lord, that was awful. But he's never been a good ref, Amanda. He's still quite young, Stuart Atwell, funny enough. But I get the thing with, they want to try and implement new rules and procedures, but I don't think it matters because when it comes to him. I don't think it matters when it comes to quite a few of the refs in the league, but with him, he's just not very good. I mean, you're right in terms of inconsistency. Look, people like Rodri, definitely Fabinho at Liverpool, got away with murder. Absolute murder every week.
So did Sadio Mane. Do you remember Kearney with the elbows constantly?
100%, 100%. So I don't know what he was doing, man. Like, there were a few instances where City players committed yellow card fouls. They were yellow cards. They were. That's not even being biased. They just wave play on. You're setting a rod for your own back, man.
So how many
now,
fouls, Carl's saying, how many fouls does he get before he gets a yellow, Albert? I mean, how many?
and even there was one foul. That was a definite yellow card and he never got anything. I thought, what's he doing, this ref? But yeah, Amanda, to say I'm shocked by Stuart Atwell's performance today, no, because I've seen it throughout his refereeing career.
Right.
You know, listen, he will always be famous for, anybody who hasn't seen it will know, the phantom goal. It wasn't only his fault, but the fact that he happened to be there officiating that day, it should tell you everything about this guy's refereeing standard.
Okay. So William Jack wants to know, James, can someone please explain why Mikel was booked for asking for a yellow for the opposing player's foul? You're not allowed to do that anymore, are you?
Yeah, it like we've just talked about, all these new rules have come in. They've obviously been explained, and he's like, oh, it's the first game. I'm going to set the big example because, I'm the first ref to ref the kickstart of the season, so I've got to show. But the thing is, you've got to. My problem, Amanda, and we've said it all last season as well. You have to be consistent with it.
Yeah.
And it is so inconsistent. City are very, very good. So I've seen a comment in there because earlier that I agree with. Like McTominay, Rodri is so good at accumulative fouling.
Yeah.
He's amazing at it. He's probably the best in the world at it. And yet he made 3 today. 2 of them are the exact same foul that Thomas Partey does, where he pulls the person back, that he gets booked for. What I couldn't understand is their goalkeeper kicks Havertz and Gabriel in the Harris, yet Gabriel gets booked for getting kicked up his own bum.
Yeah.
Well, how's that work out? It makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, Atwell, if he was on fire and I had a glass of my urine, I'd get a straw and an umbrella. I'm like, he's useless. He's not worth saving. Absolute joker.
Oh, it just ruins it, doesn't it? It's just like, you don't need to do it. And if you're going to do it, be fair and be consistent. To go and he booked Martinelli, didn't he? Before he even booked a City player again. It was like, have you only got your blue tinted glasses on or something? Were we even dirty? And why have you not booked Palmer for kicking Trossard continuously on the floor? I mean, I can't tell you what my language was like then, boys. My lounge was a sea of
Well, and it's the way Dixon was like, oh, he's not going to give him a card there because the game's late on. I'm like, a foul's a foul at any time in the game, Lee.
What's he talking
I
about?
know he had Lee had a mare, to be fair to him.
He did.
I know he's your friend and everything. I've never met the guy, but
Oh, he's lovely, but if
Man,
I
he's killing
see
me
him, I'd say something.
yeah, I'd be like, come on. Come on,
Right,
Lee.
boys, we've done over an hour.
You're
but we
better
haven't
than
even-
this.
We haven't even got to the penalties. Let's
He
not
should have
discuss
made
it.
an accumulative foul in '99 when Ryan Giggs was running past him.
Yes,
He
he
should have
should've.
pulled him on the ground.
Should have taken one for the team, shouldn't he? The treble wouldn't have happened. Anyway, I think it's that year. Let's go to penalties, boys. So we're very pleased, aren't we? That Saka scored because that was my
and
pick.
Rodri missed. I was over the moon when Rodri missed.
Yeah, and
Ramsdale
PJ
saved it, sorry.
says, I was one of the few that liked the practice penalties that Arteta wanted. Think it helped today. Didn't Ramsdale say that, James, in the interview
Yes,
that
he
I
did.
watched? He said, we've practiced that.
And I'll tell you what as well, I was very, very happy for Vieira to score the winning one. Because he's
Yeah.
another
Well,
he's another player that's had it up.
look
you
at
know,
John
he's had-
Rowe.
Yeah,
Top
great comment,
Let's
John.
give it up for Vieira. That penalty would give him a good confidence lift. And did you see his reaction to pointing to the badge?
Yeah, he's another player that's had it quite rough on the. Hopefully, he doesn't check his Twitter very often because he gets it quite rough on there. Bless him.
I actually said in the last few podcasts that I think next season will be his season. Funny enough, I think
he's
he's got something. I know a lot of you can't see it.
No, he's a good player, Amanda. His final ball's class. He's just too weak. If you get him round Saka's house and give him some proper meals instead of cow and cake, he'll be fine. Albert knows.
I do know. I do.
And Albert, as Karen said, it was definitely calmer when Rodri missed and De Bruyne missed the first penalty, didn't they?
Yeah. People like Rodri. Rodri's a top player, man. Like, let's have it right. But the likes of the great Sergio Busquets. They knew what they had, that cunning, devilish. One of the best players I see ever do it. I'm sure you agree, James. Is when Ricardo Carvalho's at Chelsea, a brilliant centre half, but that guy was the capital of dark arts. Honestly,
Sergio Ramos,
yeah,
mate. I love
oh
Sergio Ramos, but he's another one. Horrible man.
But
Yeah,
listen,
but
go on,
some of
Amanda,
them, you need a little bit of, and I'm going
You
to say
do.
this word, shithousery occasionally. Do you remember that player that used to play for Chelsea? There's probably many, but I can't
There's
remember his
loads.
name. The striker that got one of our players sent off. Oh,
Costa.
that's it. I hated him.
Yeah, I couldn't
I
stand him.
hated him.
Couldn't
Big
stand him.
shit house of a player. But hey ho, he did it, didn't he?
But
Boys
no,
and
sorry,
girls.
go on, Amanda, sorry.
No, go on. Sorry, Albert.
No, he's saying, yeah, penalties. I was like, Ramsdale penalty saves. I know he saved one the other night, but he's not got a. I'm sure it bothers him. It does. You know, you want to be the man to say penalties. But yeah, Arsenal penalties were faultless, man. And yeah, I think it's fitting what James said, that Fabio Vieira scored a winning penalty, and what a penalty, by the way, as well.
Yeah. But I wanted to say something that I tweeted before the penalties a few minutes before. I went, do you know what? I said Ramsdale's absolutely useless. He's not good at these penalties, is he? I didn't put useless. I said, and I was my reverse psychology because I'm
Yeah.
often wrong. So I saw someone else do it as well, and I'm right. I'm going to do it. He's not very good at these penalties, is he? And then I know he didn't save the first one, but it gave him confidence.
Nah,
so,
he put him off. He put him off.
Yeah. No, it's brilliant. Right, boys. What I said to you, and if we can do
Yes.
it quickly.
Yes.
So, people in the chat room, as you know, we're doing a preview show on Thursday. Just be me, Chris, and James. We might have a guest. At the moment, it's just us three. We're going to preview the season. Today was just to talk about Charity Shield, Ramsdale, our Fiona, and a few other bits. However, I have asked the boys if they will tell me who they think will end up first, second, third, fourth, who's going to win all the cups, and who's going to get relegated. Let's not do the relegated one. Let's just do the others. Okay. And this is going in my book. This is my podcast book. So come May next year, I'm not going to have it on a piece of paper I can't find. I'm going to read. I'm going to keep each page.
That says bread, milk, cheese.
It doesn't. It's never
Frankfurt. Yeah, that's it. Ribena.
Albert, who's coming first?
That's the
who's
wedding
winning the
presents,
league?
Albert, isn't it? It's the
And
wedding
so
presents.
people in the chat room, if you want to say who you think's going to win the league or third or the cup or whatever, top four, whatever you want to do. If you want to wait till Thursday, because I'm not telling mine till Thursday, then please do whatever you want to do. But we're going live 7:30 Thursday night. Right, Phil Macker has already gone. Arsenal, City, Man United, Liverpool. Albert, do your top four for me, and I'm going to write them down.
This was hard but I had to take into consideration the competition everybody's in. City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United.
Not Chelsea. Okay. No. And not Newcastle.
Yeah, that was tough. It's tough.
Who's going to win the Champions League this year?
You know what? I don't know why I thought this. I said Bayern Munich.
Okay. FA Cup?
Arsenal.
I still call it the League Cup. Don't care what it's called.
Yeah,
I call it the League Cup.
You know what? This was tough, and it wasn't because of the big clubs. I've got Newcastle.
Okay. No, I can see that. James, first, second, third, fourth, please.
Ooh,
okay. In what order?
First.
That order?
Yeah.
First. Right. Where's my mate Carl? Get the train. Arsenal, number one. First,
Yep.
winning the league.
On,
City, second. Third, I'm going to go Chelsea.
Wow.
And then fourth, I'm going to go for United. Although I'm not sure. I think United might not make it. But Newcastle, I think they might struggle with the Champions League. And Liverpool, the people that do Thursday, Sunday very rarely get in the top four. But they can win that Europa League. They should be winning that at a counter, Liverpool. So they'll get in the Champions League by winning that. Or they'll finish fifth and get it in it that way. Because you've got to remember it's 5 teams for the Champions League this year, not just the 4.
Oh, of course.
Okay, so who's going to win the Champions League?
Manchester City, I think.
I was close to that, but I thought, you know what? Nah.
FA Cup, Arsenal's got Albert. Albert's got Arsenal.
Yeah,
Go on,
Pains-
Arsenal.
pains me to say it. I've done this the other day with Danny as well. Chelsea are winning the FA Cup, I think.
Ooh,
Yeah,
hope
makes
not.
me feel sick.
And the
Yeah.
Milk Cup, Rumbelows Cup,
Yeah,
and all
Yeah,
that name.
your second team, Liverpool, are winning it, Amanda.
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh God.
Yeah,
You're
you
still
can
saying it.
you could go to Wembley and hang out with your mates.
Actually, let's do the relegation quickly.
Yeah, I've
Go
got
on, because
more.
otherwise we'll never get to it. Albert, what's yours?
Oh, this was actually harder than any of the
Of course
others.
it is.
I went Luton,
Mm,
Bournemouth,
yeah.
and I went Wolves.
Okay. Yeah, I can see. Young man, LL Cool J.
Yeah, I think Sheffield United are going to be rock bottom. Robbie's Luton are going to be second from
Jay, for
bottom.
goodness sake, man.
You have to do it.
and
every
then
time.
yeah, I agree with Albert. I think Wolves.
Yeah, I think
Although I don't want to upset my mate Kevin, but if Everton get that points deduction, if it's
For
the
what?
because of the financials, they could
Oh,
be they could be facing a 8 to 9 point deduction. I don't
Ooh.
think they could turn that around. If it's 9 points, I don't see Everton turning that around quickly. I think
okay.
if they're 9 behind from the off from next week, yeah, I'd worry for them.
No one thinks Nottingham Forest this time we're going to go
No.
down? No?
I
He's
think
too
that-
good.
I
He's too
think-
good of a manager for me.
Interestingly,
I think that season, them staying up last season is massive.
I'm going to obviously give you all those answers on Thursday evening with the boys. I haven't even told the boys we're doing this yet. But we're doing this on Thursday evening. Please all come back for our first official show of the season. I've been invited onto a Nottingham Forest podcast Tuesday night, but it's not live, but I will send the link out. I was on it last season. Very nice guy. Unfortunately, I offended every single Nottingham Forest fan by saying Notts Forest. Apparently,
Yeah,
that is not a done thing
No,
to
you
do.
can't do that.
So
No, you can't.
he got lots of people saying, I really liked her until she said
Yeah.
Notts Forest.
It's like
So-
calling someone from Cyprus Turkish. You can't do that,
Yeah,
Amanda.
I didn't know. I held my
Sets
hands
people
up.
off.
It's not live because thank God it wasn't live because I think I'd have had a barrage of abuse in the chat room. It's going to be recorded and then put out. I can't remember what the Nottingham Forest podcast is called. See, I'm already on the train with it. I'm already there. But yeah, that's Tuesday night. Then Thursday night we've got that, obviously. And then, as you know, boys and girls, we are always live. Always live. I'm trying to do post games the next day. We generally will be Sunday nights at 7:30. It's been fantastic to have over 150 of you in the chat room. As I said, the podcast is growing. This is your community. We love your questions. We love our guests. We love everybody on audio. We love you all. But we'd love you even more if you could just press like and maybe leave some YouTube comments as well and tell your friends. And everyone on audio, big up to you listening to this on a Monday morning, my dulcet tones on the train going to work or something. We really appreciate all of you, Chris and James. We all do. We love this community that we've built and we're building, and we'd love more Gooners to come along and, as Karen just said, smash that like button, because the more Gooners we have, I think it's the better shows with all your fantastic questions. I really appreciate it. So Thursday night we're back here 7:30. Please press like, please subscribe on audio, follow and rate us. Apparently makes a lot of difference. I don't know. We're on all Albert's nodding for people on audio, so it does make a lot of difference. I want to say a big thank you, Albert JTV. Please tell everybody where they can find you.
Man, it's been a pleasure. You know what? The penalty shootout was the last thing I needed after watching that USA Sweden. Wow, that was crazy. But yes, thank you for having me on Albert JTV. You'll find me here, there, and everywhere. I'll be covering the Women's World Cup as I have been for the last however many weeks now. How many weeks has it been? I can't remember. But the nightmare of a game for me to watch tomorrow, for obvious reasons, having allegiances with both countries. So I'm annoyed. But yeah, you'll find me Albert JTV. Come and subscribe, and my Twitter handle is somewhere there. I think it is. I can't remember.
What's your Twitter handle? You're at Albert JTV or something, aren't you?
No, it's not. It's that
Oh,
it's
you're
that
not.
A it's that AU mode
Oh,
57. It's easy. It's easy.
yeah,
to
yeah,
remember.
yeah. They can find you because you're tagged in this.
Yes.
James, where can everyone find you and what podcasts are you on?
Oh, what podcast aren't I on? Easier question. I'm like Holly Willoughby in programs on ITV. I'm on them all.
Oh God.
No, yeah, just go on Twitter, LL Cool James 91. All the links are on there. Click them. If you thought to yourself, I've enjoyed him, thank you. And then yeah, you can hear me more if that's what you want. Like you said, if you're going to go on a train and listen to your dulcet tones, you can listen to mine. I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but go ahead. I'll take it.
We've just had such lovely comments, and everyone loves you being on here, and I love you two being on here. It's like having my podcast brothers, partners in crime. Love you. Since I've started the shows on this channel over 18 months ago, Albert was on loads of post-game shows with me. How many times you're on mute, darling? How many times I said to you, didn't I don't want to go, we've lost, I don't want to go, but we went and we cuddled, virtual hugged everybody. Right, everyone, thank you again for joining us. This has been the Same Old Arsenal podcast. We are on the Sports Social Network as well. Please go and find us on all audio platforms. That is us, over and out. This is the Curtain Raiser, Charity Shield winners. We beat the City finally. Thank you all for joining us. We will see you Thursday night. And remember what I always say. What do I say, boys?
Always Arsenal. I was going to say something else then, but I know. I thought I'd change it. I thought I'll behave. I'll say the nice thing.
Yeah, say the nice thing.
Always Arsenal. Always Arsenal. Have a wonderful week. See you all Thursday night. Good night.